Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. A little while ago a viewer got in touch with me asking if I would like to review a couple of their favourite Chinese fountain pens. And these are pens that are relatively affordable on places like eBay. And I said, yeah, I'd love to, what are they? And they actually ordered them and had them sent to me. So thank you very much to that viewer. You know who you are. It's people like you who make this channel possible. One of those pens was this. Looks familiar, but it's slightly different. This is the Wingsung 3411. This is an all plastic, acrylic pen with a little sort of metal band there with the engraving the Chinese characters and the Wingsung logo, and on the back 3411. It's a fairly simple pen. It's reminiscent of the Moonman M2, which is reminiscent of other pens. Comes with a range of colours for this band. This is, of course, the black version. And come with steel nib. I think there's a couple of different nib options, an extra fine and a fine. This is the fine, which is about a 0.5, I think. You can see there, it's just a steel nib, gold coloured, with the logo on it, Wingsung, and fine written underneath it. Let's just do a rundown of the pen. I'll show some specifications and then do writing sample and pros and cons. So starting at the top of the pen, it's just a very simple conical, cap, all one piece with the metal band, swells out to the center, and then the barrel travels along and then narrows down to a conical end there. As you can see, it is acrylic and it's basic or plastic, and it's quite a clear plastic, which is nice. There's no inner cap liner, to hide the nib or anything like that. The cap unscrews in 1, 2, 3. Try that again. 1, 2, just under 3. I didn't think it was quite 3. So just under 3 screws, and reveals a fairly plain section which tapers ever so slightly. The threads there are smooth, but that little the edge of the barrel is a slight step down, which if you hold the pen further back you do feel under your fingers. I wouldn't say it's sharp, but it is very noticeable. As I said, the section tapers ever so slightly, about 1 millimeter from top to bottom. Clear plastic feed, which sort of highlights a color of the ink. In this case I've got this using Pilot Iroshizuku Yama Budo, and it's a gold colored steel nib, which I actually think looks quite nice. So as I said, range of colors available. It's a cartridge converter pen, proprietary to Wingsung, although I also think this pen can be eyedroppered. It's got a good amount of threads onto the barrel. It's all one piece, like there's no plug or anything like that, it's just one piece, and there's a little rubber o-ring there on the end, which both helps secure the barrel in place so it doesn't come loose on the pen. It's got a nice feeling of tightening just on that last turn, but also will help keep ink off the threads and eventually coming out. Obviously there is no clip on this pen, it is perfectly round, so it will roll quite freely. Sorry about this light coming in, it's just a bit of where the sun is. I should mention the price. Now, this pen, on my research, I could find for about $7 Australian, including postage. So pretty reasonably priced. It is a fairly cheap Chinese pen. It doesn't feel like incredibly high quality plastic or anything like that. It's got an okay nib, which writes well enough. It is reminiscent of other pens. There are other versions of this style of pen available. But for $7, you're getting a pen that wrote first time, writes pretty consistently, a couple of hard starts here and there, but not too bad, and is a decent size, and it writes, which is a plus. Let's have a look at it in comparison to a Lamy Safari. So for size comparison, here it is alongside a Lamy Safari. As you can see, it is slightly smaller by a couple of millimeters. It's about the same width and it feels about the same in the hand. Uncapped, you see it's slightly smaller again. and posted. And this pen does post, though I wouldn't want to post it too firmly in case it would crack, because it's that sort of plastic. As you can see, once again, still smaller than a Lamy Safari. As it does post, and it won't come off, but it's not particularly secure. And as I said, I think if I posted it too hard, this plastic here would crack, because the band is on the barrel of the pen as opposed to on the cap securing the join there. Capped, it's 138 millimeters. Posted is 158. Unposted is 125, which is more than comfortable to write with. I think it's a decent length, and there's nothing up here catching on your hand. You can write with it posted, and the balance is actually quite nice, but then you do start to get the cap on the edge of the webbing of your hand. The section goes from 11 millimeters at the threads to 10 millimeters near the nib, so a slight taper down, but it's certainly not a small section. The pen weighs 13.5 grams. So it's a fairly light pen, like it's very, very light. A Lamy Safari is about 18. 11 grams of the pen's weight is in the body, and 2.5 is in the cap. So when you do post it, the balance remains okay. So here I have some Clairefontaine paper, and we'll just do a writing sample now. So it's a Wing Sung. Three, 4, 1, 1. This is a fine nib, or 0.5, and it's steel. The ink I'm using is Pilot Iroshizuku Yama Budo, which is a really lovely magenta, like just a beautiful ink. Okay, let's do some writing. Not the neatest handwriting, but it gives you the idea. It's smooth, it's consistent, fast writing. Like nothing at all. It writes pretty well. Now, in terms of wetness, this is interesting. It's not a super wet pen, but it lays down a really nice line. It's one of those pens that feels a lot wetter than it actually is. Reverse writing is possible, and it's not too bad. Very fine, and I think it would dry out quite quickly. Flex, it feels like there's a bit of spring in this nib. Now, I don't think the tines are necessarily opening up to let more ink down, just getting a bit more ink on the page, but it's certainly not like a stiff nail of a nib, which is always a good thing in my opinion. Writing under its own weight, it's not a lot of weight to write under, but it does sort of get started without a whole lot of pressure. So let's talk some pros and cons now for this pen. Okay, pros and cons for the Wing Sung 3411. Well, there are a few cons. Firstly, there's no cap liner. So if you're not using this pen regularly, it does dry out ever so slightly just to get you a couple of hard starts. Not terribly, but it does happen. You'll see there's ink in the cap. Now, all pens will get ink in the cap. This is from just everyday carry. It's been in a pen case, in a sturdy pen case, in my bag, held upright, but ink does get out. And you can see it sort of there in the cap. That's going to happen, but because this is such a clear cap, you just see it a lot more, obviously. Another thing I don't love about this pen is that it is a rip-off of a rip-off of a rip-off. It is what it is. The Chinese market is going to do this. Brands will copy each other. They'll copy big brands. They'll copy small brands. They will just copy. It's just the way it is. So it's up to you whether to support that or not. If the cost of the pen is something you are willing to put up with it. The other thing to take into account with a lot of these pens is that they hit and miss. Now, hit and miss from a couple of perspectives. You may order a Moonman pen and get this. Or you may order this and get a year in, or something else, who knows. Also, so you're never exactly sure what you're going to get unless you buy from a really well-respected seller, or a seller that you know and trust. The other thing that is hit and miss is the quality, whether the nib's right, whether the converters are secure, all those sorts of things. So just things to take into account when you're buying a pen that is $7 to Australia, including postage. And that price is comparable sort of worldwide on this pen. Now let's talk the pros. I'm going to put price in this category as well. It's $7, it writes well. It writes smoothly and consistently with a pretty reasonable flow. It comes with a converter. Yes, take that into account when you are buying a $100+ pen that does not come with a converter, yet the $7 pen comes with a converter. Just something to be aware of. And also, the fact that this comes with a converter is what sets it apart from the Moonman. The Moonman is only eyedropper. This at least has the option for the converter. Now, the converter in that I actually think is kind of ugly. Like, I would prefer this pen with like a converter with the black, and so it matches. But for $7, you get what you get. Other pluses are the fact that this nib is actually quite pleasant to write with. It's a little bit soft, or not. It's not a flex nib, but it's a little springy, it's comfortable, it's nice. The pen is comfortable. It's a nice size in your hand. It's light, it's well balanced, all of that sort of stuff. And of course, the biggest pro with any pen is the thing writes. It wrote out of the box. No tuning, no, sort of priming, nothing needed. Inked it up, wrote with it, and it wrote on day one the same way it writes now, 3.5 weeks later. So this is the Wingsung 3411 fountain pen. I hope you found this video interesting and useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notifications button if you want to stay up to date with the videos that I produce. Please feel free to get in touch using any of the platforms listed below. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at @the_offstage_me, or you can contact me on any of my videos here, or drop me an email which is listed down below. If you've got products you think I should be looking at, or if there's a way you'd like to support the channel, like this viewer did, and thank you very much once again, I would love to hear from you. It's your support that makes this channel possible. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.